Hey there, this is a very special episode of Lead with Culture because it's our end of year episode. So it's going to look a little bit different than our other episodes where you are used to hearing an interview from whether it's a CEO or a leader or a dream manager or one of our Floyd coaches sharing insights and inspiration on company culture, building a great culture, leadership development, or how to help you become the best version of yourself. And so we are so grateful that you are part of our community. We hope that this year you have learned some new things or just gotten some inspiration from listening to this podcast. We've had some really wonderful guests on, and we're just so grateful for the opportunity to talk to leaders who care about their people, who want to make an impact in the world, who want to help other people grow. And so whether you are a leader that is building a great culture, or maybe you are just in a place of life where you're trying to grow your own skills and build better relationships with your family, wherever you are, we try to make sure that we are sharing what it is that you need to help you grow personally and professionally. So we hope you love these episodes. Today, you are going to hear some clips, some of the highlights from the episodes that we've had. You might hear from someone that you listened to the full episode and you remembered it, and maybe it was your favorite episode. And there might be some clips that you hear that inspire you to go back and check out a past episode that you didn't get a chance to listen to. And so this is your opportunity to just get some good clips. It'll be a fun episode to hear a little bit about each of these topics on culture and leadership and personal and professional growth. So you get to take what you need, leave the rest, and hopefully pass this along to someone else who you think would find value in it.
For the business owners or entrepreneurs, it means a lot to people to know that the company has the inspiration and commitment to investing in people. And making people's dreams come true is the lifeblood of every company. I've worked at places that said the right things, but didn't always have the action behind it. And I think people pick up on that. And when you're willing to invest in those things, you're going to acquire and retain the best people. And when they feel like their dreams can come true under this umbrella of the organization or organizations that you've created, then there's a much higher commitment and also a much higher retention of people within the company. You've got to find time and the resources and the capital to invest in those types of things, because it means something to people. And then people discover things about themselves that they didn't even know existed, or maybe nobody in their career ever asked about. I think when you become the company that does ask those questions and does have the commitment, you create a platform that allows people to be their best. And so if you can create one of those and become that influence in people's lives, why would anybody ever want to leave there? You invest in the things that are going to make people better and make people want to stick around. We don't want to just build businesses that give people jobs that keep them stuck. We want to create companies that have massive amounts of upward mobility. And so for me, it's always been a vision of you build a structure where the bottom of the org chart is always lifting or pushing the company up. And it just creates a massive amount of momentum. And it's easier to lead that company than it is to lead an organization where there isn't a lot of opportunity. It's a good thing to be able to create that opportunity for people and then continue to create more and more opportunities where whatever it is that they want to do in their life, they can accomplish being in the walls of these businesses.
We talk about how hard we're working a lot. It's hard to work at our company because we are helping those that are experiencing mental illness and addiction. And our clients need us. They need us to be strong. They need us to be full. We need to be very comfortable in our own lives to be able to help someone else go through their tough time. As we have grown, we really worked hard to make sure that our salaries were competitive. So that was one of the first things. We were not, admittedly, several years ago, not paying our staff very well. And the answer was, well, you're just nonprofit and you're mental health. And so nobody expects you to get paid very well. No, we are going to pay our staff. They work hard, just like everybody else in the world. So we're going to pay them what they're owed and what they're due, and very competitively. That was a huge mission or a huge priority for us a few years ago. So we're now up to market rate. So that would be one thing. We have a pretty robust vacation and sick leave. So that's a newer thing for us, but we found that we needed to do that to be competitive. But then past those kind of standard and the benefits, past all of that, what we have really focused on is our culture. And we see over time, our turnover has lowered. Amazingly, people refer their friends, and we have just continued to do good work out in the community. And that, I think, more than anything, has drawn those to us, because when you see some company doing good work like you guys, like Floyd Consulting, it inspires you to want to do that too. And so all of those things together, I don't want to say we haven't had trouble hiring, but we have made it easier. We have applicants coming to us, and I'm proud of that.
It's actually quite dangerous if we start to equate our value with our work. It's the same as, having your life savings invested in one stock. It's just very, very risky, because a bad day at work is now a bad day of life. And so I do firmly believe work is a source of joy, but it should just be one of many in our lives as well. I do think there's a lot of people who overwork. The problem with overworking, even if you enjoy it and want to, is that there's an opportunity cost. Like, you only have so many hours in a day. So if you are spending 12 hours a day at work, tell me, when did you exercise? When did you make like a decent lunch for yourself? When are you sleeping? When are you doing something so stupid and pleasurable like a crossword puzzle or, anything else that brings you joy? So the opportunity cost is real. Get good at life, not just work. And also, you are the defender of date nights, crossword puzzles, and your health, because sometimes it feels that way. Because work is greedy. It's like an invasive species. It will just spread over your calendar wherever you don't stop it. And so sometimes it really does feel like you have to defend the rest of your life from overworking. So that means putting date nights on the calendar. You don't have to make this public to the rest of your company. Putting exercise on your calendar. Making sure that you have some sort of hobby. We have to find other joys in our life beyond work.
Now, multiple generations in the workforce, one of the big determining factors on whether or not they choose to work for a company or stay at a company is wanting to know whether or not they're making some sort of altruistic difference in the world, whether that's on a societal level or an environmental level or both. So companies are literally having to reevaluate how they do business to ensure that they are making the world better in some way, because they know that that is what's going to help acquire and retain the best talent. The way this is really taking root is how companies are adopting social intrapreneurship. So essentially carving out dedicated time and creating the processes for their own employees to ideate around how can we help this company not only make profit, but simultaneously do something that's better for society or the environment. And what all the data is showing is that these are the highest performing organizations. So there's a huge business imperative in companies wanting to shift more towards this purpose-driven work and doing it in a way that has to be felt authentic and genuine, not just trying to like greenwash and just put out messaging that says, look at how virtuous of a company we are, with no substantial meat behind it.
When you look at a company and how their culture is going, can people show up as their true authentic selves? Are they engaged in the programs that we have? We have philanthropy programs, we have the Dream Manager program. How are they able to show up? Are they showing up? And we see continued engagement, and that's increasing over the years, and certainly since we put Dream Manager in place. One of our early dreamers wanted to buy and flip a house, and she achieved it. She worked towards it. She was able to go through, and she was one of the first people to complete the program with the company, and still talks about it. And I think the great thing is, as soon as you start dreaming and you complete a dream, that's a win, and you can build off of that, and you can start seeking out more dreams that you want to achieve, and you just start building that momentum. And so it becomes almost impossible to not dream. They're not always huge dreams, right? They're not like I've traveled around the world or done this thing, but they're all amazing in their own right because they move somebody forward. They give them permission to dream. And with their energy, they're telling other people like, hey, I did this thing. I didn't think I could, but I've done this thing. And then it becomes contagious, right? The Dream Manager program is an act of kindness because as one person dreams, they share that with others. And then other people start considering what they can dream about. And even if they're not part of the program, it creates those new thoughts.
It's fascinating how much people gravitate toward that topic of regrets. The one that always gets me is I wish I'd had the courage just to be myself. How much time that we spend placating other people or pretending to be somebody that we're not, or pretending to be invisible. We're not having that courage. But I tell you, so there's essentially three things that you can do with your regrets. One is to learn from them, a learning moment. Two is to redeem them. And what I really focus on is the rest of what we're going to do together in our fourth quarter visioning, dreaming, mapping is you can create a plan to avoid having those regrets. So you can not only redeem regrets and learn from regrets that you already have, you can also map out a plan that's going to reduce the likelihood that you're going to have these 15 or 20 regrets, because if you don't, you probably are going to have them. So how do we create those positive dreams and expectations and a plan so that you say, I actually did have the courage to be myself. I actually did love the people that mattered most to me. I actually did use my gifts.
One of the executives at our companies, I just had noticed a really positive change in him. And so I said, hey, what's going on? Not in a rude way, but you're more talkative, you're more outgoing, you just seem more confident. And he said, oh, I got a coach. Let me connect you to her. He sent me her information and I had a really great intro call with her. And after thinking it through, I was weighing at that point in time, the coaching or a week-long leadership boot camp, which would it be? I knew I had some personal things I wanted to tackle before I actually got into the professional coaching side, which I still think was a great decision for me personally. But if there are people out there who think I need to wait 4 years to be perfect and then jump into coaching, that's not the case. And the more I spoke with Michelle, she is the coach that I was blessed to get connected with, because we spoke frequently over the year that I was not even doing coaching, just so I could get comfortable with her and really almost build myself a case to say, let's go for it with this. And I've got a big job. I have a lot of work to do. I've got a beautiful family. It was a lot to think about, but honestly, it was so worth it. All the things that I got out of it.
So you have a really good culture, right? But you have people that, again, you don't want to lose them. You want to keep them inspired, motivated, engaged, all of that. Again, replacing an employee can cost up to 150% of their salary. So we don't want to do that either. But you maybe, again, you have a good culture. So you have poured into these people probably to retain them up until this time. So giving them this unique employee benefit of having a coach that can hold them accountable to the dreams that they keep pushing down their list because they're busy with life, and having somebody really care about those dreams and keep them focused on it is invaluable to those types of people. Because you don't want to lose one of your top performers because they had a slightly better offer somewhere else. You want people to stay because they're like, wow, this company really cares about me, and I even have a coach. I mean, can you imagine being able to say that? And my company even gave me a coach, a life coach, through the Dream Manager program. In fact, one of our companies actually did a stay interview and asked people why they were staying with the company. And this was a high turnover industry, and 55% of them cited the Dream Manager as a reason why they're staying. That's significant. That's significant. And again, it's just these one little things that you can offer to retain those great people, and something called emotional loyalty. This whole Dream Manager program really feeds into that emotional loyalty. So it's not just a job. It's not just to make money. You care about me, and they're in turn going to care about you.
If I signed up to work at a company that was remote or hybrid during the pandemic, and that's kind of what I signed up for, thinking I'm going to be able to do this, and then they demand that I'm back in the office, like, employees aren't going to like that for the most part. And I think it's because so much of culture is built on connection, and connection is built between whether it's employee to employer, employee to manager, to leadership level. It's built on trust. And so you're changing what the employee signed up for at the company and not really creating trust, because at any time it's like, oh, they can just change what I'm doing and how I work. So I think like giving employees autonomy to create their own decisions for what works best for them creates that trust, which creates connection, which is ultimately going to create that culture that people as humans want and need to succeed.
We need to care. Like, I can't coach you to care. If you just don't care about people, like, I just don't think I can help you. It starts there, and they'll know, like, whether or not you truly care, right? And so, it starts with that, but then it's like, are you willing to count the cost? And that's time, it's money, right? And maybe other things. Like, so, again, there's a cost to that, but on the other side of that, and this isn't the reason we do it, but on the other side of that, when people are thriving and they're flourishing at work, which was our mission in our business, was like, if that every single person and their families would flourish, that there would be this ripple effect from our culture into their lives that would impact their families and beyond. Come in, put your head down, do the work, right? This is pretty common in the corporate world. Well, you could do it that way. That's one way to do it. But I would bet their turnover's higher. Culture probably isn't all that healthy, or at least not sustainable for very long. And so, I would mine for conflict. I'd be coaching our team, coaching our leaders on our organization, how to navigate conflict real time with real drama. I was like, bring the drama, bring it to work, because it's not going away. It's just going to come out sideways anyway. So let's just deal with it, right? Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. We have that opportunity as leaders to jump into the pit with people and walk with them, say, like, let's figure out a way out of this pit. Like, you're not going to be here alone. Let's figure it out. I mean, gosh, talk about like building loyalty, right? Like, these companies and leaders, they want loyalty. They want loyal people. Like, you want loyalty. Like, that's the way to do it. That's the way to build loyalty, right? Just like customer loyalty. How do you build customer loyalty? Do right by your customers, right? Treat them well, build advocates. And it's the same with our employees. In fact, it starts with our employees.
Thank you so much for being part of our Lead with Culture community. We are so looking forward to continuing to provide you with valuable content, really great resources, and hopefully interesting conversations to help you grow personally and professionally. So thank you so much for being here. And as always, lead with culture.